Okie dokie. Hey YouTube, how's it going? Hope you're doing very, very well. This is the video talking about grammar, obviously. Talking about, do you need to actually study grammar? I got a whiteboard today, isn't that cool? We're going to put this on YouTube too. I'm going to go live on YouTube, or on Facebook at the same time. Let's do both. Let's do a double stream here. 3, 2, 1. Boom! Hey YouTube, hey Facebook. Do you need to study grammar? That's what I'm talking about. I don't know why I think it's funny, but it is funny. Anyway, so here's what's up, guys. Depending on who you talk to, depending on what you read, depending on, how you learn languages, depending on a lot of different factors, we have like really a whole bunch of different opinions, a whole variety of different opinions on grammar. I think if you look in language learning circles, so for example, if you're if you're, for example, talking to someone who is extremely passionate about languages per se, they might say something like, man, learning by grammar, studying grammar actively is not all that fun, it's not effective, blah, blah, blah. There's other ways to do it, this, that, the other thing. On the other hand, you might talk to a lot of other people, as oftentimes these other people tend to be people who are not necessarily, super duper into languages per se. Maybe they're a teacher, maybe they're just taking classes because they're offered in school or whatever. And often when you look at especially classes, right, they are taught in a very grammatical and, let's say, very grammar heavy way, very grammar focused way. That's extremely, let's say, common. Hello live people on YouTube. It's very, very common, right? And I guess at the end of the day, it brings up a bit of a debate, do you need to actually study grammar? What's the answer, right? And the answer, I'm going to write it actually, create some suspense on this show. We never have enough suspense. This show does not have, my videos need more suspense. That's decided. We're getting more suspense as of today. I'm writing the answer down. You guys can guess what you think the answer is. Ready for it? Ready for it? Ready for it? Wait for it. It's coming. It is coming. Yes, sort of. That's the answer. Why yes, sort of? Well, the answer is yes. You do need to study grammar, in my perspective. But the way that you study grammar is where people get their heads wrapped up and start to do it in maybe not the most effective way. I think, in my perspective, when people think, oh, let's study grammar, and people's brains goes to studying grammar, they picture classroom, teacher, grammar rules, boring, difficult, maybe lots of repetitive rote learning, writing. People's brains go to that kind of zone. And the reality is that when you're studying grammar, that's not necessarily how you need to do it. A lot of people will learn. If you tell them, here, I've taught many students, you teach them the grammar, go, hey, here's the rules, here's how it works. They will learn, but a lot of people don't. I mean, myself, I'm a very good example. I made a podcast about this today, actually, which makes me really mad about something completely unrelated, but let's stay away from that. Now, I went to a French immersion school. Basically, all of my education, most of my French was in French growing up from the age of 5 years old, right? And as I was going through school, by the time I was in, call it early high school, I could speak French. I was not bad at it, but my grammar was not great, and my grammar knowledge was not fantastic. The rules just did not make a lot of sense to me. And so here I was in high school, I'd been through 10 years of French school, and the grammar rules were not fully, let's say, solidified, per se. And so I was thinking to myself, okay, what the heck? Now, around this time, I also studied in France. So when I was in grade 10, I went to France for 3 months, basically a little less than a semester. And while I was there, I spoke French every day. I made new friends. I make a lot of mistakes when I spoke, and I'd get corrected a lot, and I would hear the mistakes I was making. And then I started to catch patterns. I was like, oh, I keep saying X. I should be saying Y, etc., etc. I would catch little things that I'd be doing wrong. And I would start to catch patterns in the types of mistakes that I was making, and all of a sudden, by catching the mistake patterns, I would learn. I would get better. And so eventually what ended up happening was that when I came back from France, I had excellent grammar, even though I hadn't theoretically sat down and like studied grammar in the traditional sense of what one might think of when they're thinking of studying grammar. And so, I guess where I'm trying to go is that I guess do you need to know grammar? Yes, I think you do need to know grammar to an extent. You have to have not perfect grammar, but you need to know it. It's an important part of language learning. But you don't necessarily need to study it in the traditional sense of studying grammar and like thinking of learning the rules, etc. Not necessarily. And I think that's kind of a mistake that people make. So I think we'll wrap the video up there. Thanks for watching, listening. YouTube people, I'm going to shut the Facebook off. I have one little thing for YouTube. See you, Facebook. Bye. Little thing for YouTube is, oh man, for people who've seen the most recent, especially Spanish videos. Spanish has been like a weird thing. Oh my god, I'm so sorry that there's been like weird audio things in the background. Fixing those, moving forward. I'm never again using this microphone for live videos. I used to use this. It's an excellent microphone actually, but just for live videos, it's not great. You have to like make sure your internet's turned off, otherwise it just interferes with the mic. So just one of those things. But anyway, see you guys later. Bye.